Hi, Cheryl here from 24/7 Wellness and Living. Did you know that if your hamstring gets really tight, that it can cause all sorts of postural issues? And I know that if I probably lined up 100 people and tested their hamstring flexibility, there would probably be about 99 people who had poor hamstring flexibility. That's through many reasons. One, because we don't stretch enough. Two, when you sit, unfortunately you shorten this muscle and it gets used to being held in a restricted position. But I'm sure that you never knew how many postural issues a tight hamstring can cause. So the first thing that happens is when the hamstring becomes too short and too tight, is it changes the whole position of the body. So the origin of the muscle is actually your sit bones. That's where the muscle starts, and there's three muscles within the group, and they literally go down the back of the leg and insert into the knee just at different angles. So when muscles become short and tight, what they actually do is they draw the origin of the muscle closer to the insertion point. So bearing in mind the origin is your sit bones and the insertion is the knee, when muscles are short and tight, they draw bones close together. This is what happens. So the origin of the muscle tries to get closer to the knee. So what it does is then it makes a drag on our body. So you'll actually see that people with tight hamstrings will often have a sort of rounded upper back. And what that also does is it actually forces the abdomen out. So it's really difficult to flatten your abdominals when they're being forced out. You'll also see that the bottom starts to slope towards the knees, not very attractive. So we not only have a flat bottom, we have a bulging abdomen, but we also have this sort of rounded upper body position. And what happens then is pectoralis, your chest muscle, is being constricted and restricted as well. The rib cage starts to collapse. So our diaphragm muscle, our main breathing muscle, doesn't have enough room to move. So you'll often find that people who have this posture have poor energy levels, and they just get very tired, headaches. So again, when you've got this posture rolling forward, what tends to happen then is the trapezius, this muscle here, actually you can see it almost sitting up. And I know most people go, oh, I'm so tight here. You're actually not tight. Well, you are, kind of. The muscle's actually being locked long. It's almost like trying to do its job, which is protract and retract the shoulder girdle back and down. But unfortunately, this roundness that's being caused by the drag of the hamstring is making this muscle sit up and actually gets locked long. So it's very tight and under continual tension. So we've got issues here, a lot of discomfort and pain. The other problem a tight hamstring can cause, because of the drag and the roundness, the head can't turn when it's back here. So it does, okay, well, I'm going to jut forward so that I can turn properly. Well, what causes then is problems in the cervical vertebrae, because they are being compressed and the gel within the disc is starting to bulge or herniate and press on nerves. But also, when you have this position, you will also find that you might end up with TMJ dysfunction. So tight hamstrings can cause sloping bottom, abdominals being forced out, so a sort of bulging abdomen. It can cause a rounding upper back, issues with the neck and shoulder area because too much tension through trapezius, poor breath because diaphragm can't move efficiently because our rib cage is collapsed, problems in the cervical vertebrae because the head has to move too far forward and there's a lot of compression in the cervical vertebrae, and TMJ dysfunction. Now, if that wasn't enough, there's one more thing that the hamstrings, when they're too tight, will cause for you posturally. When we bend to pick up something, we should actually hinge at the pelvis. So basically, the pelvis should work as a hinge. However, if my hamstrings are tight, they're dragging my pelvis closer to my knees. So look what happens when I bend. I'm feeling it in the lower back, as opposed to being able to hinge, using the hips as they were intended, and actually being able to pick something up like this as opposed to like that makes a huge difference to where the fulcrum is. So either my hips should be taking it, but if my hamstrings are tight, my lower back's taking it. And unfortunately, our lower back is not designed to bend in this way, and that's why we end up with a lot of lower back problems as a result of tight hamstrings. So if ever you thought, why should I stretch my hamstrings? Now you know there are many reasons. And for more information like this, visit our website, www.247wellness.com. Thank you for your time.